All I got is missed calls on my line, yeah, never.
What's up, guys? Welcome into episode 165 of the Missed Call podcast. I am another year older. This is Colby Marcio speaking, and alongside me, as always, is Ryan Sartori. We're both 27, Ryan. This is gross.
Why? Why?
Gross. Because every day is getting quicker. Every day is going faster, and we're getting older and older and older. I just want to be 12 years old again, and my days feel like 2 days in one. You remember those?
Yeah.
When you were little and like you're in first grade, and the whole day felt like 8 years.
Yeah, but like, isn't that a privilege of living, right? Like to be 27 and to have your days fly by is it's a privilege. Not everybody gets to live to 27 or whatever.
We're in the
age.
club,
So
Ryan. We could be in the club.
we could be in the club. If you and I both do, we have the opportunity here to do something hilarious. Because everybody knows Kurt Cobain,
Amy Winehouse,
Colby Marcio, and Ryan Sartori.
Juice World.
Right. Of course, the most famous of people in the 27 Club.
The most famous 27-year-olds of them all. Merry Christmas, guys. Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah,
It's
Merry
Happy
Christmas.
Hanukkah.
It is Hanukkah season right now. Yeah, there's a lot to get to in this episode, and including birthday stuff. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about one of the funniest broadcasting setups I've ever seen in my life.
Just give it to me. Just give it to me.
Plus, Shohei Ohtani is a Los Angeles Dodger, and crazy information is breaking regarding his crazy contract and what the actual value of it is going to be. Juan Soto's been traded. That makes a Cub a happy guy. And we also have a ton of NFL topics to get into today as well. So, Cub, you wanted to talk to me about your Saturday.
Yeah, so I went out Saturday, and I really wasn't out that long. 6 to like 11-ish.
It doesn't 11 feel like 2 a.m?
It's not even that, Ryan. It's the amount of compliments I received Saturday from men about my mustache, and it was straight guys, which made it worse to me. Like if like gay guys, I've had gay guys hit on me before. It's fine. I feel like the hottest man alive when they do it. But straight dudes coming up to me saying, "Bro, that stash, bro, that is a good stash." Like, one I can handle. Like, I get it every once in a while. It's fine. But this one dude, Ryan, the first one that kicked it off, he comes out of nowhere. Excuse me. I thought he worked there for a second because he like came through the crowd and like opened like he was Moses. And I just like pointed my beer at him because I thought he was a worker for like half a second. And he's like, "Bro, I've been staring for 10 minutes. And that is one hell of a stash. I had to come over here and say, that is a great stash. I keep looking at it, bro. That thing is just great." And I'm like, this is literally a pickup line. This is a pickup line.
Yeah, it is.
He's using his pickup line on me.
I've been
staring for the last minute. And then I ran into him in the bathroom, and he was complimenting some dude's hair. And he goes, "Great hair. Oh, great stash is here." And I was like, what is going on?
He was spearminting is what he was doing. He was spearminting that night, which is fine. All things
Was he a college freshman? Come on.
Here is the crazy part about you having a great stash. And I think, I've got a beard, right? Some people think it's good. Some people think
this
it's
guy's
whatever.
just patting himself on the back.
No, I'm just saying I have a beard, and I've experienced similar things in facial hair hood, right? Like having facial hair. But it's different. You have people coming up to you complimenting your mustache, be them heterosexual or homosexual. I only have straight dudes that will comment on my beard, and it's only other beard having dudes who are like tatted and have a fucking mohawk and stuff. So it's a very different experience that I have juxtaposed to yours, because
none of them have stashes. None of them have stashes. The ones that come,
but from what I know, and I don't know much, but from what I know, is that gay men don't like beards, so they don't ever come up to me, but they do like your mustache.
No. I think they miss me having no hair, because that's when I was complimented the most by them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, shout out to them. I've felt like the hottest guy at a bar before.
It is a uniquely confidence
But
boosting thing.
I think your take's wrong because you're a bear. You're a bear. You're a bear.
It is a uniquely confidence boosting thing when a gay man comes up to you as a straight guy and gives you any sort of compliment, because in your head you automatically think, well, I might not be a disgusting piece of garbage if this person who is looking for other beautiful men thinks that I have any sort of redeeming physical quality for him to have come up to me and said anything positive about my appearance. It is a uniquely confidence building thing.
Yeah, that's what they're pursuing, and if he's pursuing me, then I gotta look pretty solid. That's
exactly
the way I look at it.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
But just getting, I think I got 7 compliments twice in the bathroom.
Wow.
In the bathroom.
What I get a lot of times in the beard world is a lot of, which is, what it is.
Could you imagine me getting one of
these? Little thumbs up.
Hey,
yeah.
Hey, it flows into it, Ryan. Watch.
Anyway, the rest of your birthday, you're 27 now. Anything big besides getting compliments while you were out Saturday night?
I'm officially an espresso guy. So I'm officially a coffee dude. Full-blown coffee, espresso. I got an espresso machine. My girlfriend got me one.
Have you ever had an Americano? I just have stumbled into the world of Americanos recently, and it's actually very good.
I know it has a crap load of caffeine. What is it again?
An Americano is a latte, but with water.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of milk, it's water.
Oh.
Yeah. And
see,
so
I'm very into black coffee and just nothing in it. But with my espresso, I put a little sugar cube in, and I like it like that. But I don't like coffee with milk, sugar. Like, it's not what it is if you add all that stuff. That's just
sure.
Just me.
On a daily, like I need cream and sugar in my coffee. But I can on the occasion with a good roast do a black coffee or something with just sugar in it. Like I can't. My taste palette allows me to do that type of thing.
We're so
but
old.
not
We're
an all the
talking
time
about coffee.
thing.
We're so
we are.
old.
We are. Think about the origins of this podcast and where it was and how like aggressively horny this podcast used to be, and now we're talking about like coffee beans.
All right, let's get into Tinder bios, but now let's get into what's your favorite roast? Colombian?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I digress. I would like to talk about also from Saturday, one of the funniest broadcasting setups I've ever seen in my life. One of the reasons that I'm in broadcast professionally now is because of a college radio station that helped me along the way. WONC FM 89, the college radio station for North Central College, is also the home of play-by-play for all the Cardinal athletics. Well, the football team is having another great run. They were in the semifinals this weekend, and the broadcast team had to go to Waverly, Iowa, so that North Central could play Wartburg and they could have their broadcast done. Well, this game was also on ESPN Plus, and ESPN took up a lot of the press box at Wartburg College. And so this is the setup that the students who went on the trip got.
Is that a dorm?
That's a dorm room.
First of all, great rear end on that guy.
Okay. All right. That's a college kid. Remember, you're 27 now, and people see this. So this is a model dorm room in the administration building that overlooks the football field. They had no view of the scoreboard and lost the last 30 yards of the football field down and to their left.
That's disgusting.
Well, it was, but it's
you
also
might as well just post a folding table on the field.
They didn't get a folding table. They didn't even have a table. Here's the thing. The play-by-play guy, Sam Corbett, is a dear friend of mine and somebody that I talked to about this situation. And it's just one of those things where, as you know, as a broadcaster, you're going to run into situations where like you're trapped in a model dorm room at a D3 college broadcasting with a sign that says all you need is love next to you. You know what I mean? So it was just, I thought, one of those fun moments. I've broadcast, dude, in situations like I had a press box that was infested with wasps, and you had to fight off the wasps as you were calling the game. I've broadcast on the sideline of a soccer pitch, and parents wanted to come up to me in the middle.
You're growing. You said pitch.
I know.
You're growing. You're growing.
Well, they were wearing their kits, or their knits, or whatever they're called. Anyway, parents will come up to me. My headset is on. I'm talking into the microphone to whoever is listening, and parents will come up and be like, "Hey, who scored that last goal?" And you have to like try to like tell them to go away and continue your thought. Like, this is all part of the growing process. It was interesting. I thought it was hilarious. And for these guys, they're only going to get better for having broadcast from inside of a dorm room. I digress. The biggest news in sports right now is the biggest news in sports. It's Shohei Ohtani, who has signed a contract. We'll just say a contract for right now. He is an LA Dodger.
Knee-jerk reaction from the old kid over here is not worth it. And this was prior to what Ryan's about to explain. But prior to that, I think the Dodgers spent too much, and they're wasting a lot of money on a guy, or just they're wasting a lot of money on three guys, really. Their pitching rotation is terrible. That's Mookie, him, and Freddie Freeman, and then the rest of the batting order is just a massive drop-off. You have Hayward, you have Outman. Like, those are solid guys, but is it really going to move the needle in terms of, like, World Series contention? No. It's just going to be another year of the Dodgers, if you ask me. And you're sitting here thinking, okay, 10 years, $700 million, which would count for $70 million of annual average value. And you would think that would count against their salary cap too. But what we're learning right before we hit record on this podcast, what we've learned is that $680 million of the $700 million is going to be deferred until whenever, right? The deferments are allegedly going to start being paid out starting in 2034 and will last through 2043. So it'll be 10 years essentially of deferment payouts to Shohei Ohtani. But Ohtani is the guy who, towards the end of the negotiations, came to the table and said, I don't want this contract to hinder our ability to bring guys in because we're going to be so landlocked with cash, with Mookie, with Freddie, with myself. So he is going to count, instead of this big $70 million number, for I think what'll boil down to $43 million a year. The numbers are still coming in. The information on the contract is still coming in. So I don't have a very solid understanding of exactly what is happening with his contract right now. But there's two thoughts that are kind of prevailing at the moment. That his contract is 10 years, $20 million, and he's only going to be paid $2 million a year during his contract with the Dodgers, or the way that the CBT works and the way that they have to work money in from this contract. His contract is essentially worth 10 years, $460 million against the cap, right? Against where the luxury tax is, where I guess I should say. Either way, it comes at a massive discount to the Dodgers, who are now still going to have the ability to go out and spend. And could they get a Yamamoto to help? Please no, please no, please.
I hope not.
Please.
But they could end up going and getting a Yamamoto to kind of bolster the rotation. They are, from what I've heard, very in on Tyler Glasnow and bringing him in to be a part of the rotation. You get those two dudes and match them with a new UCL for Walker Buehler. Maybe you bring back Clayton Kershaw as your 4, and you've got a fine 4 guys to roll out. Plus, You've got a couple of prospects in the system in terms of pitching arms for the Dodgers as well.
They need Bellinger. They need Bellinger back.
They're not getting
gonna.
Bellinger. They can't, because Bellinger is going to be a $300 million man.
He's not worth that.
But
I think he's
it
asking
doesn't
for
matter
too
what
much.
he's worth.
Yeah.
He sees the way that this Ohtani deal is played out, and he's going to automatically say, okay, if that left-handed hitter gets paid X amount of dollars, you break it all down, you make your arguments if you're Scott Boras, and you say our player is worth this much money, right?
Yeah.
And then next offseason, somewhere in the middle of Bellinger and Ohtani is going to be the contract of Juan Soto, who is also another guy that we need to talk about here. I do want to loop back around to Shohei in a second, but Juan Soto's a Yankee Cub.
They got him for nothing. They won that trade. Even if he's a rental, they didn't. This was my only concern. I'm very excited. And the number one reason I'm excited is that didn't mean to do that. I got too excited. They did not give up Jason Dominguez. That was the only concern I had as a fan and as somebody that has loved this team since they were 8 years old.
Yep.
That they were not giving up somebody that they got themselves. I love a farm guy, a home guy, a guy that they have developed. They didn't give him up.
Which they don't do well.
And they don't do well at that. And when you do, it's whoo, they knock it out of the park when they do. But Juan Soto is going to give this team so much depth in the outfield. And people are going to be like, well, what did you ask? Well, you said the pitching. If they get Yamamoto, you could shut your little mouth over there, young Mr. Sartori.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing is if they get the pitching, they're in a great spot. But as it stands right now, I didn't see enough from Carlos Rodon last year for him to matter in this situation.
Yeah, their rotation sucks. It's
Garrett Cole won a Cy Young for the first time last year. Garrett Cole is, no matter what, going to be a very good pitcher unless he's simply not there, unless injury happens and he's not there. Where it stands, Garrett Cole is your one, and there is a very steep drop off to.
It's just a bunch of like 3s and 4s.
Do you like was it Domingo Germán? Who's the perfect game pitcher last year? Do you like him? Do you like?
You cannot like him. You can't. But I'm saying from a pure baseball standpoint, not as a person, but that
do you like him in that
perfect game is the peak of his career and is the downfall right after.
Do you look at the bullpen and say, okay, we just traded Michael King, who was a very solid piece of the bullpen last year for us. How do we fill that role, right? Like Juan Soto still comes at a discount given what he will make in the future. I don't know where he's at with arbitration.
Yeah.
And the numbers that he's going to be making. But Juan Soto is going to be a rental for the Yankees.
Which isn't a bad thing. Which is, with what you gave up, it's not a bad thing at all. The thing with the Yankees is if their offense is unreal, their pitching is usually just terrible.
Yeah.
They haven't had a good solid rotation since the Astros were cheating. And that was just
and that was what? Montgomery.
That was rookie Montgomery, CC,
Tanaka,
Savvy, and Tanaka.
Yeah, that was a fair rotation. Still not the best one, but a fair rotation. Juan Soto in 2024 is projected to make about $33 million is the projection on him.
It's fun.
But no, so you talk about Dominguez. You're so happy that was never a part of the trade. That was never going to be a part of the trade. That was never going to be something that happened in this trade because the Yankees held a lot of leverage. The Padres could come in and say whatever they wanted about whatever prospects they wanted back, but they knew immediately, having had to take the loan out for the $50 million earlier this offseason, they knew immediately that they just had to try to dump Juan Soto for whatever they could get because they're not going to be able to pay him in a year. And they're going to get more now than they will at the All-Star break because everybody knows they have to trade Juan Soto because he's the biggest superstar on the team that doesn't have a humongous price tag attached to his name. You look at Tatis, you look at Machado, you look at Xander Bogaerts.
Walked player in the league. Woo!
Well, and part of that
3 years
is
in a row.
because that he has great plate discipline and pitch awareness and
somebody asked me the day after he was traded, was like, oh, wait till he starts doing his little dance and people in the Bronx get pissed off, or people are gonna have to delete their old tweets about it. You can't hate that move.
You can. Yankee fans are like
Boston.
Yankee fans are the fans, I think, to ruin that for Juan Soto. If there was going to be a group of fans to do it, it would be Yankee fans. What do you got? Little Juan Soto bobblehead. Oh, that's cool. That's fun. Bobble hip. It's not a bobblehead. That's a bobble hip. Anyway,
get that thing going.
Those two moves alone were the two big dominoes everybody was waiting on to fall to see where everybody else was going to move. There's been some auxiliary moves happening here and there during the winter meetings, which weren't very exciting because of the Ohtani thing that was looming. But I think one of the reasons in the past couple of days we haven't seen much movement in terms of MLB free agency and trades and stuff is because everybody's trying to see what actual value this contract has with Shohei. And from the things that I'm seeing, it is going to be a situation where the Dodgers are only going to have $2 million held against the luxury tax during the course of the next 10 years that account for Shohei Ohtani. And then the deferments are going to happen come 2034 when the contract is up and Shohei presumably starts to head into retirement at that point, because I think he's going to be 39 or 40 by the time that rolls around. Ohtani age is 29. He is 29 and a half. He turns 30 on July 5th.
Wow. He looks younger. He's got good skin.
He has good skin. So he'll be 40 when this contract is over. That means Shohei Ohtani's done playing baseball.
His arms will be donezo.
There are no opt-outs in this contract. I don't know about a trade clause or anything like that, but where it stands, Shohei Ohtani is a Dodger for life. I do want to talk about the goose chase that we had on Friday, because it was one of the best days Twitter has ever seen. It reminded me of like nostalgia Twitter, where like, you know, it wasn't about like facts and reporting and stuff on Twitter. It was just about fucking hearsay, and whatever came up, right? But
he wasn't in Chicago when I was taking the CTA, so
he wasn't in Rockford when I was at the Petco looking for dog food.
That was a good tweet. That was a good tweet.
So the goose chase starts early on Friday. John Morosi tweets and says Shohei will decide by today. After we had heard he's going to sign by the end of the winter meetings, then we heard he's going to sign by the end of the week, then we hear he's going to sign by the end of Friday, which he didn't. That's followed up with the plane report, where we're told, like, okay, Shohei has left on a private jet. He's headed from LA to Toronto. And then somewhere along the time, because we're sitting there all day long tracking this flight, who's on the flight? Is he actually going to Toronto? Somewhere in there, Bob Nightingale reports Shohei Ohtani ain't walking off that plane.
First of all, if anyone, I hate when people use him as a source. Please stop.
But then
giving this man views.
Two others corroborated that information. And we found out Shohei Ohtani wasn't on that plane, because when the private jet landed in Toronto, Robert Herjavec from Shark Tank walked off the plane. Robert Herjavec, who 100% knew that this was happening because, of course, they have Wi-Fi on his private jet, steps off the plane, and then a couple of minutes later posts like a meme of himself in a Blue Jays jersey saying, I just signed a contract.
Dude, one, if he went to the Blue Jays, I would hate him. I would hate him so much.
Sure.
Because terrible spot for him as somebody who wants to attack that Japanese market. Staying out west was the smartest thing he'll ever do.
Yeah.
So people can watch his games. Second of all, I hate the Blue Jays. I hate that whole team. This was
Also,
hilarious.
to that same extent, when you're talking about staying out west, there is a cluster of reporters, 50 some odd reporters and their families that live stateside because they work for Japanese media sources and they are tasked with covering Shohei Ohtani. So not only would Shohei be uprooting his life and moving elsewhere, he would be uprooting the lives of all these reporters. And so the deferments and everything, it kind of just proves that Shohei never really wanted to leave LA. It was always the Dodgers in his mind. He just wanted to get out of the Angels organization because he knew that he wasn't ever going to be able to win there. Along the way of this goose chase for Ohtani, we hear that Yusei Kikuchi has booked some high-scale sushi restaurant in Toronto for 50 people. Turns out that was for his wife's birthday party. There was some secret of Shohei's dog's name that was going to give some massive clue about where Shohei was going to play. We still don't know the name of the dog.
Dodger.
Is it Dodger?
No, I don't know.
It was just one of the craziest days ever on Twitter where you're left there just refresh. I text a guy in the industry and I was like, hey man, do you know anything about what's happening with Shohei? He goes, no, but I'll be very glad when it's over. It was a witch hunt, a goose chase. Pick your thing, but it also is commentary on the state of journalism, the state of kind of where we're at with Twitter and the instant like gratification that we need. That like the news breaking world is a weird one where like sometimes facts get thrown out the window and it's just about whoever can be right, and whatever modicum of information I have that I can fit in 160 characters, I'm going to push that out right now. That's what some people, that's how they go about it. We know I have a standard that I don't believe anything full-throated unless it is a Jeff Passan tweet, unless it is an Adam Schefter tweet or a Ken Rosenthal tweet. Like there are people you pay attention to that know the things.
Nightingale's the last person.
Nightingale is not somebody you should normally trust. But when he tweeted out that Shohei's not on the plane, I threw everything I know about him away and I was like, I'm back in. Because at that point, Cubs fan Ryan is still in the idea that he might still sign with the Cubs. So
I'm mad he didn't go to Seattle. I think they would have made a statue.
I don't think they ever had a chance.
They never had a chance, but they would have made a statue for him before he ever landed in Seattle.
Yeah. The question also gets brought up, is this bad for baseball? Is $700 million bad for baseball?
Well, I think before this information with the contract, yes. Because I don't think a guy that's a DH is worth that much.
He's not a DH.
He will. I doubt he pitches again. I bet you he pitches one season and that's it. I bet you he adds one more season to his resume pitching wise, and then he just sticks to hitting.
I would imagine.
Is he going to play the outfield next year?
I don't think he's the gotcha guy. I don't think Shohei's the dude who's going to be like, got my contract. I'm not doing it anymore.
He's not Rendon. He is not Rendon. He is not that. I'm just saying, is a guy who's pretty much just a DH really worth $700 million?
You're viewing it wrong. Because this is going to be a two-way player for at least the next 5 years. Could the final 5 years of this contract be a DH only role for him? Yes. Could his whatever surgery?
But do we know that? Do we know that? Can he? Is the thing. He's gone through two Tommy Johns. You think he's going to pitch 5 more years? No. He's
going to have to. That's what his contract indicates, that he's going to have to. $700 million does not get thrown.
I mean, he can't if he's going through a third Tommy John.
It doesn't get thrown at him unless there is some sort of reassurance from Shohei to the Dodgers that signifies that he will pitch when he can. He's not going to pitch in 2024. We've already known this about him. I don't know if it was a stress fracture or whatever he had in his arm or elbow or whatever. We know he's not pitching in 2024. So yes, to your point, he will be a DH in 2024, but come 2025, he will be back on the mound and operating in the same way that we know. There has to be some sort of assurance from Shohei to the Dodgers that he will get back on the mound.
Sticking to LA sports, the James family had themselves a weekend. LeBron James and the Lakers become the first team to win the NBA in-season tournament, which is the only reason why I watch the NBA is for the in-season tournament. Put the banner over a championship. Who cares?
Hell yeah. Yeah. Screw that like 1954 championship. Put the in-season tournament over the top of it.
You know what? Cover Elgin Baylor and put the in-season tournament, the champions right there. I mean, I'm only watching for that trophy. And then LeBron putting the little the bong together and lighting it up on national television. That was awesome. But something that's way more awesome than that, LeBron James Jr., Bronny James, made his debut yesterday for USC after recovering from a cardiac arrest that happened 4 months ago, and he only missed 8 games. Wild. Also, the chase down signature James block that he had yesterday afternoon, was the best birthday gift I've ever received. Thank you, Bronny.
I'm silent because I'm reading Alden Gonzalez just put out a story on ESPN that regales exactly what Shohei is going to be paid, and it is
he's back on.
He's got the details. I'm just saying, to put kind of a punctuation on our conversation about Shohei, he's going to make $20 million over the next 10 years in terms of baseball money. He reportedly makes $45 million a year on endorsements alone. So he's fine financially, but then he's deferred 97% of his contract through the years of 34 to 43. It's absolutely crazy that this is allowed, but there is an amendment to the rules, to the CBA and all that, and the way that teams are allowed to spend money and divvy money up. There is nothing MLB can do to step in and say you cannot defer that much money. There is no limits or percentages or anything that dictates where the line is drawn on deferments. So this is groundbreaking as well as mind-numbing and infuriating, because the Dodgers are one of those big organizations that they're going to have that money in the future. They're going to have that ability to do that. Some organizations might not have that, but this is groundbreaking to say the absolute least. Let's head into NFL talk, where the biggest conversation is around Kadarius Toney being offside in a play that would have probably gone down as one of the best in the Kansas City, like Mahomes, Andy Reid era, the pitch back.
He's got to go.
Kadarius Toney, to me, is like the Velus Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's got a bit more value. He plays a bit more. He has the ability to be a good receiver, but he had the drops against Detroit to start the year, plenty of mistakes throughout the course of the football season as well. And then last night, straight up lines up offside.
Do you know who Tony is? He's the David kid for like the No David books growing up. Do you remember that kid?
I do, but I never read any of them.
Well, it's just a kid that's always causing trouble, and that's Kadarius Toney.
Like, no, Kadarius, you can't.
No, Kadarius, you're not supposed to be that far up.
Well, and the big conversation, the big like hoopla about it is the fact that Patrick Mahomes threw a big stink about it. Post game was like,
we've never seen him like this.
We haven't. The frustration is officially boiled over.
What more? It's because he's doing everything he can, and he knows he's performing at a high level, and he's just surrounded by bums.
Yeah.
It's just him and Travis, like 2 Hall of Famers, and then bums.
Yeah, well, and Isaiah Pacheco is a badass.
Pacheco is not a bum. Pacheco runs like somebody just punched him in the face. He's always mad.
Pacheco runs like a gorilla on coke. Like he you know what I mean? Like the dude is just ridiculously strong.
Cocaine bear.
Yeah, he runs like Cocaine Bear. There's his nickname. We just found his nickname, Isaiah Pacheco, Cocaine Bear.
It just, first of all, had Bill's money line yesterday.
Perfect.
I've never seen Patrick throw his helmet. I've never seen him have to be held back by his teammates. This is a concern, and the only way to change it is getting rid of Kadarius Toney. Like, why?
Who fills that role?
How many more times
that role?
He is there. He is there. Cody Parkey. He's there. Cody Parkey. When they need him, when they need something to happen, he will mess it up. It's done it twice. How many more times do we need to see this happen for it to foreshadow into the playoffs and he causes them to lose? Cody Parkey.
Well, here's the thing. Kadarius Toney's got Patrick Mahomes worked up. I'm sure to some extent he's got Andy Reid worked up, Matt Nagy worked up. Hell, he's even got Rex Ryan worked up.
What'd you say?
I just said this is a toe I don't like. Toes. I like, I like toes. I don't like this toe. Hey, come on, line up on freaking side for crying out loud.
Well put, foot fetish guy. Like but at the end of the day, it shouldn't be a conversation that we're having like this, right? Like, it was a huge matchup. We know Chiefs Bills a huge thing, but like, he's very clearly offside. Patrick, I'm sure, looking at the replay on his phone in the locker room was like, shit, I overreacted. Andy Reid, you know, they all had the comments about the officiating, and like, I've always gotten, you know, warnings about it, but he's very clearly past the football.
He's so far off.
That's not like a hand. It's not a toe. He is over the line of scrimmage.
It's head, foot, and all.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a conversation that we're having right now. One conversation, though, I would love to have is Joe Flacco elite?
I was thinking about that earlier today too. That exact question. Should we be mad that he's playing though? I feel like some people are pissed that he's mad, and I was like, I don't know why you're mad. So like, just why are we allowing all these old players to come back? You know what? Phillip Rivers can come back so they can have their 18th kid. I could care less. Joe Flacco looked great.
Well, I would argue that one thing Phillip Rivers won't do is come back, because he fully just blows loads not on backs. He does not. He comes away from backs. You could even say inside backs. But, you know, Joe Flacco yesterday against Jacksonville, which has been a good team this year, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns. He doesn't look bad. Somehow this dude who got picked up literally off the street, they're like, come on, Joe Flacco, get in the van. And he's like, okay. And he gets in the van and just says, all right, I remember how to do this.
You know who also had a good game yesterday? And I was dreading it because I had to start him in fantasy. Drew Lock. Drew Lock had
a fine game.
Fantastic game.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just this is just like, we're literally talking about Joe Flacco in 2023.
Andrew Lock.
Andrew Lock. This is the weirdest NFL season we have ever endured in our lifetime. I don't know about the old past times, but we have gone through so many quarterbacks that nobody is good. Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, is Josh Allen good? Everyone's questioning it because throws too many picks. He's good. We'll say that. He's good. Who we got? Dak. Is Dak good? Good. Hurts is good. It's just,
it could be that we've just entered such a transitionary period, right? Like, I continue to try to draw straws and try to figure out why this NFL product feels the way it does. There's plenty of think pieces that you can read online.
Do you know
I've read some of them. We might just be in a transitionary period where we're transitioning away. Some teams are trying the cycle of finding the new quarterback, and it hasn't been successful. And we only have one dominant dude who can throw the football, and we don't have many other like dominant take over the game guys right now.
Do you know what they need? It's something that has been experimented in other leagues. And it's like this thing that starts in the beginning of the season, and teams play each other, and then they play for a trophy and an incentive and money. You could call it the in-season tournament. I think the NFL needs that.
The in-season playoffs.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
It could be like the March Madness, but in August.
God, who would win that this year? Who would be the in-season tournament champion this year?
They're all so bad.
I know it has become rather mediocre.
Where would they hang the banner? Would they hang the banner if it was the Patriots?
Yes. I try not to bring them up unless I think that there's been some sort of development in the situation that's playing out with their football team. I feel the need to bring up Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears today because they picked up a win yesterday, which is crazy. It's their first, set of wins together for the first time in some time. It's actually, I don't know if you read this or not, the first time the Bears have won coming out of a bye week it's the first time in 10 years that they've won coming out of the bye week. And we've reached a fever pitch online in trying to decide what the Bears should do with the number 1 pick, because the Panthers pick is almost a certainty to be the number 1 pick in the draft this year after New England beat Pittsburgh on Thursday Night Football this past week. So I guess what I kind of want to drag out and converse on here is what team are you on? What team do you fall on? Being a Bears fan, being somebody who watches every game with a critical eye, with an analytical eye, what team do you fall on? Are you the draft Marvin Harrison, roll with Justin Fields guy? Or are you on team, let's draft Caleb Williams and reset the quarterback clock?
Well, for me to be on the Caleb Williams train, I would have to have them clean house. I want the new coach and possibly new GM. I doubt they get a new GM. I would like to line up. I would like them to pick their quarterback. If you're sticking with Justin Fields, you're going with Maserati Marv because you're building that offense. Also, to the people that are like, oh my God, this team looks great. Keep in mind, they're fighting for their jobs right now.
Yeah.
They're fighting for their jobs. I needed somebody to let me know that yesterday because I was like, why are they winning? And then I was like, and then they're like, hey, fighting for their jobs. And I was like, that is correct.
Of course.
Everybody's going to get fired. Makes sense. I hate that they're winning. I hate it. I hate it. And I hate that people are like, you know what? After the few weeks, I think that Getsy and Eberflus aren't that bad. Shut up. Shut up.
Getsy is a problem.
The whole team's a problem.
Getsy is a problem. I still think that Eberflus is a problem. What I like that you brought up is the fact that if they pivot from Fields, they have to clean house. Because what I think happened this past week when they beat Detroit is that Matt Eberflus bought himself an extra year. Now, that's where we stand after week 14. What very well could happen is the Bears lose out. They win none games in the final 4 weeks. They lose to Atlanta. They lose to the Browns next week. They lose to all the other teams, Arizona, Green Bay. That's who they have left to play. They lose all those games, and everything that I'm talking about right now is null and void. But as we sit here, December 11th, after the Bears beat the Lions, Matt Eberflus has bought himself another year. There's nothing in my mind that says that he won't be there next year. It also makes me worry because I think that they will give Getsy another year so that they don't have to try to teach Justin a brand new offense. The problem is Luke Getsy.
He would love it.
Hates Justin Fields. He hates him. You watch him call the offense. He hates Justin Fields. And any sort of progress that we see come, I think, towards Justin down the stretch here could probably be justified by a dude fighting for his job.
I'm gonna say this. If they mess it up next year, I'm a free agent.
Justin is a quarterback that I think can win you football games, not just manage. I don't think that he's a dude that's going to show up and like not turn the ball over. I think that with the appropriate offense and the appropriate mind in charge of the offense, that he can be a guy who wins you football games. He's a great improviser. He's a great thrower on the run. He's a great runner. He's got a great deep ball. There's just some passes that he doesn't throw well. And I think every quarterback has those except for your Hall of Famers. Am I telling you Justin Fields is a Hall of Famer? No, but I think that he's a dude that can win football games consistently in the NFL. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a guy that is a Hall of Famer, at least not yet, but he's a guy that can win you football games. There have been plenty of those guys who can win you football games. Justin's one of them, and they just got to give him the pieces. And I think keeping Getsy around,
get him a new offensive scheme.
I think keeping Getsy around is the reason, right? When you think about head coaches, when you think about offensive coordinators, I think like that's your football brain, your collective football brain, and your collective football body are the players, right? And when the brain is stupid, the body can only do dumb things.
Can they bring Dowell Loggins back?
No, fuck no. What about Mark Tice? Bringing Mark Tice back, or Mike Tice, whoever the hell. Mike Tice, bring him back.
Adam Gase.
Oh, robot Adam Gase. You remember like the press conference interview that he had?
Throw a screen.
Yeah.
Throw a screen.
I want to loft this up to you. College football had their awards this past week. We're getting ready to enter bowl playing season. And with the awards was named the Heisman winner in 2023. His head got cut off, but that's Jaden Daniels. I finally learned his name. And he is your Heisman winner this year, but that's pissed a lot of people off, I guess.
Why?
Beats me.
Why? Let me just say this. He's done a lot of things this year that no quarterback has ever done in college football. He also was on an offense that was number 1 in the country. And if he had a competent defense, would be in the college football playoffs right now. If they had a good defense, we would be talking greatest football team ever. This team would be better, possibly, than the 2019 LSU team if, big if, gargantuan if, they had a good defense. But they have the Colorado Buffalo / USC defense, and they suck. They suck. Also, Blake Corum getting votes for the Heisman.
Whoa.
Take away your privilege. Take away your privilege. He's the most overrated running back I've ever seen in my life.
Overrated. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, who and why?
Take away his privilege.
Who and why did we vote for this, right? Like, yeah, you're looking down the list. Daniels ran away with it with 503 first-place votes. Michael Penix Jr. next closest, 292. Then Bo Nix, Marvin Harrison in order. Then Jordan Travis, which Florida State putting out a whole like graphic.
Oh, now they want to be happy about 5th place
for Jordan Travis finishing 5th in the Heisman. By the way, finishing 5th in the Heisman voting this year meant that Jordan Travis got 8 votes. Jaden Milroe got 4. Blake Corum got 3. And then Ollie Gordon, the second, got 1. Cody Schrader got 1. JJ McCarthy got 1. Like
Cody Schrader got 1? Good for him. He's a walk-on.
You want to talk about wasting votes? JJ McCarthy and Blake Corum as your Heisman vote?
Blake Corum. Without that offensive line, he's nothing.
That's the only sound I can come up with for voting Blake Corum or JJ McCarthy as your Heisman winner.
We knew who was going to win the Heisman weeks ago. It's not that serious. It's not that serious.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. And it shouldn't be to the point where people are pissed off. And Michael Penix Jr. had a great year.
Did you see
Jaden Daniels had a better year?
Did you see the argument I got into last week on Twitter?
I didn't. Tell me about it.
Oh, no, it was on our account. That Florida State fan.
I didn't. Tell me about it.
It was really long. It's just the same reiterated thing. Oh, well, the games don't matter type dude. Which I was talking to Joshua Perry about it on Saturday, and just like, it's such a lazy take. It's such a lazy take. I still can't get over it. It is the laziest take I've ever seen. And the media just sticking behind it is lazy. Lazy. That is all I will say, because it is a 2-week-old conversation.
Did you see what Alvin Kamara was doing for that chain gang member whose leg he inadvertently broke?
Oh no, tell me. What is he doing?
Imagine, let me set the scene for everybody who missed it. Alvin Kamara runs into the sideline and absolutely blows up a member of the chain gang. It snaps his leg. He suffered
like a toothpick.
He suffered a fractured fibula and dislocated knee after the collision.
Oh God.
You're laid up at home. You just racked up a crazy medical bill. And the millionaire running back that just swept you out from under your feet and then basically turned one of those feet backward is sending him a signed jersey and football.
You know what? We'll send him a card too.
Hey, the Cowboys got your back. What, dude? I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, Alvin,
refs do make a ton.
He's not a ref.
I mean, he's part of it.
He's a chain gang member. No, they tell those guys,
hey, he's not a parent.
If you guys would like to be a member of the chain gang, please report to the concession stand. That's what they do.
No, they don't. They have to. They're refs, dude. They have to be refs.
I don't think they are.
They're not parents, Ryan. They're not just parents.
I think that they're fans. I think they're just dudes who want to be around it, right? Like, it's like signing
They're wearing zebras. They're wearing the zebra shirts. They're not. They're refs.
They give you a little penny if you're doing it at a high school football game. You're wearing the orange, and then they have to have the little meeting with you beforehand. I would say that this is just a cluster of dudes who, like, the same way that, like, baseball fans, uber excited baseball fans go and become vendors, you know, they are hot dogs, whatever, right? These guys do the same thing, but football is just holding a stake in the ground, being like, it's 1st and 10. I hope this guy doesn't hit me in the head or, you know, dislocate my knee.
I'm telling you right now, they make triple our pay. Triple.
Yeah, most people make triple my pay. Cupboard.
Did you see? This is a great way to end the show. Did you see somebody break down the inflation from Home Alone's grocery trip?
I did.
$19, and then in 2022 it's like $50, and then in today's money it's like $90. 90.
It's good you break this down because it shows you the value of $1 has significantly decreased, right? And when you're looking at a $700 million contract and you defer all of that money into the future,
it's worth more.
No, it's worth less.
It's worth less. I'm sorry.
It's worth less. Because as we continue to go, unless there's some sort of big bubble pop and the gold standard comes back together, $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow because of inflation. So once Shohei gets his money in 10 years,
he'll be broke. Essentially,
he's not going to be broke.
He'll be us.
But it'll be worth less. It'll be worth less money. Like $1 million today. Think about like sports contracts. $1 million in 1980 was unthought of. We just signed a dude for $700 million in the year 2023 of our Lord.
I cannot wait for the first $1 billion contract.
It's coming. I mean, it's going to happen to somebody. I don't know who it is.
10, 20 years. Yeah.
The one last thing I wanted to bring up is, did you see the dirty laundry that Dolphins cornerback Xavier Howard's baby mama was airing out on Twitter the other day?
No, but we can end on Zion too, since we're going to talk.
There's so many good little things to bring up, dude. So all right. So Xavier Howard has allegedly, this is all alleged, he has allegedly has 4 baby mamas that he got pregnant all at the same time. And one of the baby mamas took to Twitter to expose Xavier Howard. And in the process of exposing him, used the baby, put a onesie on the baby that says, Xavier Howard is my deadbeat dad. He tells people I'm not his child, but the DNA proved that was a lie. And then she threw that up on social media.
That's so many words.
On a baby's torso. On a baby's torso. And there's a picture of Xavier Howard on the onesie. That's like me trying to put the entire note from Jersey Shore on my shirt, right? Like, there's so many words.
You put the note. You put the note. Instead of talking about Zion being fat and how Mariah Mills was the reason why he was thin before, can we just? I need to get some. Something's grinding my gears, and I need to get it off my chest. So I'm starting to think going to sporting events is a waste of time and money, because every time I go, something pisses me off. I'm getting old. Kickoff yesterday, I went to the Blackhawks game. I got 2 chicken tender baskets and a Coke, 2 Cokes. How much do you think that is?
$38.
Multiply that by 2.
What?
Yes. And before that happened, it went straight to the automatic 25% tip. It was 80. It was 80. What is the point? What is the point of going to these events? I like, if I'm a parent, I'm never taking my kid. I could not afford it unless it's $1 ticket at the Sox game. It's the only games I'm going to. Other thing, we can come back to this. Second thing that pissed me off, dude in front of me didn't wash his hair for a good 2 weeks. I could smell it. BO. I should be able to tell the usher to kick him out.
Did you know that in Montreal, Canada, come January 1st, they are instituting a new law that libraries can kick out smelly people?
How much, and he was the type of person that only wears like a beanie. I could just feel it because he had the beanie and then he took it off for the national anthem. If that was, and he was with his dad, he was a grown man. By grown man, he was at least 19. If my dad smelled me, and if that was me, my dad would go into my ear and go, when was the last time you washed yourself? And I go, November. He would go, you stink. When you get home, you're going to shower.
I think this part of every podcast, when we just start to throw all the little things that we remember, we should just call this all the small things, where it's just, we don't even necessarily have to have any rebuttal or back and forth. It's just things that were on our mind this week.
Ryan, $60 for 2 tender baskets. $60.
That's bonkers. That's certifiably stupid.
Jess and I had to ask the lady to flip it back and show us what we ordered. We had to flip it back.
I would have respectfully been like, I'm going to take this Coke and that's it. You can have your chicken back, because
$60.
But then you also know that it's like Gordon Food Service chicken tenders. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're not getting fresh, like the chicken was killed 10 minutes ago.
It was 52 before tax.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And also, why would I tip you for doing your job? You hit 3 buttons and you went, and then you turned around and grabbed the basket and handed it to me. You're not getting a tip. I'm sick of this tip culture.
Yeah.
I'm sick of it. Not everybody deserves a tip. Get the hell out of here.
I do always weigh the thought in my brain, like, did this person do something that I could have done myself? 1. 2, do I think that they're getting paid a full wage right now? If I answer to...
Also, who's the tip going to? It is not going to that person. I know for a fact
it gets split up.
Yeah. Through everybody? So they're probably getting a quarter. You know what I mean? They're probably not getting anything, those workers.
Yeah.
That's what
I don't know. I'm surprised you still pulled the trigger on the $80 chicken tenders. Also, life hack: if you're going with your girl, like you and Jess have been together for a while now, just share a Coke.
No, so the thing is, it was at a weird time, so we didn't eat. And then it was like, all right, well, guess we'll eat at the game. And I was like, this is why I never eat at games. It was just one of those, I usually don't eat at the game. If I'm at a Sox game,
a Coke. I'm telling you, you could have saved yourself.
I know.
A Coke isn't food. You were starving, but Coke isn't food.
Listen. I only look forward to eating at Sox games because you know the food at the Sox park.
You get elote, you get churros.
I'm getting 2 Polishes and a Coke, and I'm set. And that's still, they have decent pricing. They have decent prices.
Going to a White Sox game is like shopping at Ross Dress for Less. There's a random gun on the floor. There's clothes on the ground for some reason, and there's cheap. And the food is the accidental like Gucci Louis Vuitton purse that happens to be there. Right. But they also have food at Ross. You could get like popcorn and shit that wasn't wanted other places. But yeah, it's like going to a Ross Dress for Less is like entering a third world country. Similar if you're going to a White Sox.
Everything's on the floor.
Yeah, right, correct.
Oh my
the people are groaning and also moaning in pain for some reason. It's just kind of like a bomb went off.
I should tell you, this other story. When the last Bulls game I went to, I'm sorry, this one will probably piss you off.
Just wrap this up. After this story, let's wrap
this last thing. Last Bulls game I went to, I always sit in 300s because you get the best view. I think it's the best place to sit in sports, 300s. You're a real fan too. People in front of us got up every 5 minutes.
The worst.
And it was a group of like 10. And as soon as somebody sat down, others got up.
The worst.
And then it happened through the whole game. The whole game. And you can't say anything because
you can, but you run the risk
I'll lose some teeth. I'll lose some teeth because they were drunk. But like literally, if somebody's getting up, be like, hey, get me a beer. Hey,
or go with them. Or be like, hey, I gotta go too. I'm gonna come with you, Terrence, or whatever the person's name is.
Clark.
Hey, Glurb, I'm coming with you.
Just I hate people. I literally hate like the social awareness that lacks in our communities today is just ungodly bad.
We could do a whole podcast on lack of self-awareness and social awareness. It is.
I think sometimes I'm overly
self-aware.
Yes. Like where I'm like, oh my, like when I'm at the gym, Ryan, so my gym here at my apartment's very small, and the quad lift, the quad lift machine, it's right behind
the leg extension.
The leg extension. It's right behind the treadmill. I will never get on it if there's a woman on the treadmill because I'm like, I'm like, I can't do it because she's gonna think I'm a pervert.
Or you're just going like, okay.
No, and if I'm like, I have to get this in because I haven't done it in 3 weeks because of the timing, every single time there's a woman, I always have a hat on. I will literally have it down and I will not look up.
You're like, I'm not becoming anybody's TikTok content today, dog. I ain't getting got. Not me. Not now. Not like this.
Oh, all right. That's all I got. That's episode 165. Holy crap, we're getting old. Colby Marsh, Ryan Sartori. You can follow us on all social medias at Call Podcast. Twitter and hold on, Ryan, we got the banner. Boom. Should have had that up the whole time. And guess what? Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. I'll see you guys next week.
All I got is missed calls on my line, never